What is going on, ladies and gents? Welcome to our incredible live stream event today, a special exclusive event with my good friend, Jim Moore, an absolute stud in the e-commerce world. I'm beyond excited for this, guys. You're honestly in for a treat. So if you're hopping in right now, genuinely do what you got to do. Grab your pen, grab your paper, be here for a bit because we're about to go through some really cool stuff, guys. And I'm actually hosting this in the BSF 40K group as well, okay, as Ecom Empires and all of our main communities right now also, which is super cool. So as we go ahead and wait for more people to go ahead and hop on, I see people hopping on right now. Good to see everyone here. Okay, be ready for this, guys. We're going through OptimizeX, okay? This is my buddy Jim Moore here. He's an absolute legend in the e-commerce marketplace, okay? He's been in e-commerce since about 2004, dominating the space. I think they've done $350 million in sales and some info products. They've done well over 8 figures plus in their actual jewelry brands, physical product, e-commerce. You guys are in for a freaking treat. Okay, say what's up down below, where you're watching from, throw a like on the video, give me a comment down below, and show us some love for my man Jim right here. Jim, why don't you walk us through a bit of your background, who you are, what you've done, where you've been, and welcome yourself to the BSF community. Thank you for making the time today to hop on with my people here. I am overjoyed that you're here today to kind of talk tracking and how to actually get the most accurate possible tracking on Facebook as we run our companies. Jim, welcome.
Cool. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. So a little bit of background on myself. I've been in advertising since 2004. We started selling online products using affiliate marketing. We created the products and we used affiliates to drive traffic. We sold products like teeth whitening products, hair rejuvenation products, weight loss products. And then our largest product was an info product called the Grant University. It was a continuity product that was a free plus shipping product. We gave people a free info CD, access to a resource center, $69.95 a month, monthly. Average retention was 5.8 months. At our peak, we're doing 5,000 unique acquisitions a day. That was in 2008 at our peak. That's how I got my footing in the online space. From there, I moved to the Philippines in 2009. We opened a call center because at the time we were doing so much volume. We were outsourcing a lot of customer support to the Philippines. So we had 156 agents in Cebu. We had 24 sales agents in Manila. And we just thought it would be advantageous to stop outsourcing and to insource it to ourselves. So moved to Manila, opened a call center, did that through about 2013, sold that to my business partner. And in 2015, I got involved with affiliate marketing, doing mobile app sales. So it was pure arbitrage. So we were working with app developers. They wanted app installs. They were paying $1 to $2 an install. We worked arbitrage on the publisher side. So we would drive traffic to get installs and pay 25 cents, 50 cents an install. That did really well for us until ultimately I got into e-commerce because my wife said, "Hey, let's try this e-commerce thing." And I'm like, "What is e-commerce? What do you mean by that?" And so we got into doing drop shipping initially. We wanted to, we did quite well with that initially, but the problem was it was difficult for us to control the customer experience, right? So finding products from China, at least that's how we started. We were drop shipping products from China. Products would take 2 weeks to 2 months to arrive. People didn't have a good experience with that. Blew up Facebook accounts, blew up our processing accounts with PayPal, with Stripe, with Shopify, until finally, over the course of from 2016 until 2020, we realized through several iterations of the brand to bring all of our product in-house, to control the customer experience, both pre and post-purchase, to deliver a superb quality product, great packaging, great delivery, even great presentation, to the point of, we've done about $10 million in sales, a little over, since 2016 on that brand, Celtic Knot Jewelry. But at that point is when we decided, look, why don't we adjust the way we measure our performance, right? So we were using Facebook Analytics at the time. We were using Google Analytics. We were using Google Data Studio to try and create these reports. And from there, we realized that there were some limitations with Facebook Analytics. There were some limitations with Google Data Studio. There was so much data that we were trying to compile in Google Data Studio that sometimes our reports would take like 10 or 15 minutes to load. And so that became the brainchild, or the way we got started with developing OptimizeX. So we started the project about 2.5 years ago. It was supposed to be a product for, well, it was supposed to be an internal product for our own e-commerce brands. It wasn't supposed to be something we were going to sell, but it was a reporting platform that took data from Facebook and Google, compiled it into our databases so that we could then visualize our customer journey in a more holistic way, so that we could understand our customer journey from not just, how's our conversion rate, how's our ROAS, how's our cost per purchase, how's our average order value. We wanted to know, how's my conversion rate from link click to page view? How's my conversion rate from page view to view product, from view product to add to cart, from add to cart to checkout, from checkout to purchase? I wanted to understand how my customer performs from step to step, so that if something didn't perform well, like if my conversion rate's under 4%, then I can go and say, well, where's the biggest drop off happening? Let's go fix that to improve our overall conversion rate. So the goal was to be a conversion rate optimization tool through reporting and analytics. But in April of last year, man, Apple just blew everything up. It decimated our performance. It was the first time in our history of Celtic Nut Jewelry that we took a loss. We did about a $200,000 loss for Mother's Day. And so that at that point, we decided, okay, we've got to do something. So we decided on two different trajectories. We said, okay, why don't we try top of funnel lead gen? So instead of driving traffic straight to our e-commerce sites, let's do giveaways. So we were doing $1,000 giveaways for holidays, getting people in through lead gen to subscribe to our list. From there, we put that into our call center so that we could get them on the phone, close them on the phone. That evolved into an entirely different business model that we call EcomX. And then the second thing that we decided to do is let's try and solve this attribution problem. And so if we really want to think about it more like on the history of it, when we first started advertising, this was like before there wasn't even cloud computing yet. There wasn't Facebook ads yet. There wasn't even Google ads yet. There was like Google search and Google SEO. Right. And when we wanted to track our affiliates, we used a pixel, but it wasn't a complicated pixel like we have now. It wasn't a software through JavaScript that's on your website. It was an image. It was a 1 pixel by 1 pixel transparent square image that we hosted on our servers in our offices. Every time that pixel was loaded on a website, we knew that it represented a conversion for us, and it was simple tracking. And so that was our basis of, well, let's try and solve this tracking problem using what I knew previously, or how we had done this previously. But I dug into the Apple release notes, and I was looking at all that Apple wants to do is they don't want you sharing consumer data with third parties. And so Facebook, well, is a third party, right? So Facebook, it's your website. You put Facebook's pixel on your website. Facebook tracks your user activity, sends it back to Facebook, and then gives you limited reporting on that, but it's Facebook's data. Right. Apple doesn't want that to happen unless the consumer says, yes, I give you permission to have my data. So when somebody opts out of tracking on Facebook, they're not opting out of you tracking them. They're opting out of Facebook tracking them. And so as long as you can track your own customers, then Apple still allows you to track your own customers as long as you're the one tracking your customers. And so the inherent problem is that you have several different companies that have sprouted in the last year and a half, claiming to solve attribution, solve tracking. So many, in fact, that it's hard to decide, well, like who actually can do it, who's real. Several have spent thousands of dollars on tracking tools that just don't work. And the problem is that you can't fix tracking for Facebook, at least, if you're still using the Facebook pixel to track browser traffic, right? So what happens? Here's a brief synopsis of what happens. Let's say you're a user on Facebook. You've opted out of tracking. You see an ad. You click on the ad. You go to the website where a Facebook pixel exists. The issue is that Apple then will remove any user identifiable data, first name, last name, email, phone, city, state, zip, country, click ID. They'll append the click ID with a _ AEM _ value and pass that back to Facebook with no identifiable data. Well, in doing so, that data is marked as an opt-out event by Facebook, or marked as by Apple first, but recognized by Facebook as an opt-out event. Well, for the next 28 days, Facebook has to keep that event as an opt-out event. So if the Facebook pixel tracked an event as an opt-out event, and then you're using any other third-party solution to track user data and pass data back to Facebook through let's say, Facebook Conversion API or offline events conversion API, the issue is that because that user is already marked as an opt-out user, or that event as an opt-out event, even if you collect a full spectrum of user data and pass that data back to Facebook, Facebook then has to remove the data or scrub the data from their aggregated events measurement. So then it's still an opt-out event. So this is why when you, like, even if you're using another tool, another third-party tool to track user data. But if you're using Facebook Pixel to track it first on browser, you're still up a creek, right? You're still not going to get accurate data, even if you get accurate data in someone else's platform. But if you're not passing data back to Facebook, then it doesn't help out optimization, right? So that's what we discovered, and we discovered that in July of 2020, and so we decided to pivot OptimizeX. Initially, it was only supposed to be an internal program for reporting and analytics. We realized the value of what we had discovered, and we said, let's build it, and let's build it to be a tool for the e-com industry. Wow. So we compiled a rockstar team. We've got Ellie Rosner, who is ranked one of the top 25 CTOs globally, an expert in the field of AI, machine learning, big data, and Silicon Valley anyway. And so he helped build our team. We've got a team of 28 developers in Ukraine. We've got a systems architect and our CTO in the US, and we've been building this for the last year and a half. So it was a project that we thought that we would finish in about 2 to 3 months. Well, it didn't happen that quickly. Yeah, it took a lot longer than we thought. We had a working product in February, but there were still several bugs and several things that we just, like, we could have released it, and it worked well for our own brand. But as we kept testing, we realized, okay, there's other, I'm not comfortable releasing this. And that may because, like, I'm a perfectionist, right? I tend to delay things, not because they need to be delayed, but because I want them to be perfect. And so we released our beta in May, and we brought on several e-com brands ranging from 6 figures all the way up to 8-figure brands to test the software, to test the technology. And we finished the beta in October, and we went live in November. And here we are now. So we are the only technology in the world that offers first-party tracking technology. So meaning we're not a third-party platform, right? We're not third-party. You put our pixel on your website. No, it doesn't work that way. We deploy a tracking server on your website. That tracking server deploys a pixel on your website. You configure some DNS so that the data going to and from your website goes through that server and through that subdomain, so that all the data that gets tracked on your website happens on your website. Nothing leaves your website. So as far as Apple's concerned, it's first party, and Apple doesn't interfere with first party tracking. So you're tracking first party data using first party technology. The data goes back to your server. It goes through 98 different data checkpoints to ensure that it's accurate, to ensure that it's verified, to make sure it's encrypted and stored and secured before ultimately being processed and sent back to Facebook. When it goes back to Facebook, it's the only time that Facebook sees it. So otherwise, let's say if we were to use the Facebook Pixel and Facebook tracked it first, then all this cool data that we track would be irrelevant because Facebook would be limited because it's an opt-out event. Well, because the only source of truth that Facebook has for this data is from your tracking server. So it goes back to Facebook as a CRM data, as an opt-in event. And so it goes back to Facebook telling Facebook, we have permission to have this user data, and we send it back to Facebook as CRM data. And so we have near zero signal loss when it goes back to Facebook. Actually, overall, throughout the system, we have 99.99% tracking accuracy from what is tracked on the website to your server. And system-wide, we have 99.6% match rate of what gets tracked on the server and passed back to Facebook. Wow. And so that's
Jim,
that's where we're at.
That was incredible. Guys, I told you, you guys are in for a treat today. You could clearly tell Jim's been doing this since 2004, right? With the amount of actual intellect you have with the tracking, that is incredible. And the way that it differs from all these other softwares is through that incredible single-party tracking. I think that's incredible that you've actually found that. And that's a huge differentiator compared to everything else out there. And that's why I think this is so valuable to show to the communities, right? Whether you're in our YouTube, dropshipping for beginners, Beyond 6 Figures with Justin Woll, Shopify dropshipping, Shopify dropshipping for entrepreneurs, or become empires, right? I wanted to show you guys this today because Jim is a rock star, clearly, okay? And you're going to be seeing this guy do some major, like he did 350 million already with such crazy operations. Now he has OptimizeX, changing the game in the tracking, industry. And I think, Jim, the most important thing for any e-commerce entrepreneur, brand new, seasoned, or veteran, is tracking. You have to know where your sales are coming from. And if you're not, you're losing money.
Absolutely. And more importantly than you knowing where your traffic is coming from, you've got to let Facebook know where it's coming from. Because if you're not passing data back to Facebook as first-party data, as opt-in data, as CRM data, and as the single source of truth for Facebook, the problem is that Facebook loses the data. And without the data, your campaigns don't optimize. Your retargeting campaigns don't perform as well as they could. Your lookalike audiences are dead. With getting data back to Facebook, you achieve organic optimization through Facebook. So you don't have to go take a day trading approach to your Facebook ad account. You can let Facebook optimize the campaigns. And so you let your retargeting campaigns work. Those are the first things that improve using OptimizeX. So the first thing, go ahead.
Essentially, you're getting better resulting data because of the more accurate tracking. Your lookalikes will perform better because there's more data. It's more accurate. You're going to get better results.
Bingo.
Very cool. And Jim, I know that we have some walkthroughs of the. Would you mind going through the software a bit and kind of showing everyone?
Absolutely. Yeah, let's do that. Let's go into OptimizeX. Enough talking about it. Let me just show you how it works.
Cool. Now I've just shared screen here, so we're able to see. Can you guys let us know down below if you guys can see, so we can actually go through this. Now, Jim, walk us through exactly how this is used and also some of the differentiations with the other tracking softwares as well, because a lot of individuals are going to have questions. I already see one down below. So it's better than other softwares or similar. What are the differences? And based off of what I see here, the dashboard and the UI looks incredibly clean, to say the least. So walk us through a bit further, Jim.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first thing that happens, well, let's say like when you get everything set up, you're going to go through a simple 7-step process, right? So we take you through a very simple onboarding process to first configure your DNS, set up the subdomains, deploy the server. Once the server is deployed, you have access to your server. You go through a 7-step process of setting up your Facebook pixel and access token, to placing your OptimizeX pixel on your Shopify site, as well as removing the Facebook pixel from your Shopify site. Then you connect your Shopify app to OptimizeX. Then you configure your plugins that you may use for your Shopify store. And then you set up your tracking events. And so the tracking events, it's literally just drag and drop. So these are all the tracking events that we track currently. If you want to track something else, you just drag it and drop it.
And we just got a question, Jim, saying, does this track add to cart, right? And we see.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Yes. So here's some key differentiators, right? So most tracking softwares out there right now, and I won't name names, but so most tracking softwares don't actually pass data back to Facebook. There are a few that do. Those that do pass select events back to Facebook, right? Let's say like one of the popular ones only pass lead and purchase events back to Facebook. And when they pass the events back to Facebook, they're only passing first name, last name, email, phone, no device identifiers, no product identifiers, and you're losing all of your middle of funnel events. And if you're in e-commerce, middle of funnel, this is digital gold, right? So when somebody adds a cart, you want to know that they added to cart because you want to be able to retarget those people, that specific product that they added to cart. So we pass back all user activity that a user does on a website. So you would simply drag and drop the events that correspond with your funnel. And then you would prioritize the events by either highlighting them or not. Prioritization means that this is an event that every person navigates through before they purchase, right? So we know that everyone views a page before they purchase. That's why it's a locked event. We know that everyone has to view a product before they purchase. Everyone has to add to cart before they purchase. Everyone checks out before they purchase. Depending on what payment platforms you have, you may or may not track add to cart or add payment info. Or if you use Shopify Plus, then that's why we track them. So we pass them back to Facebook. If they are tracked, we just don't prioritize them under Celtic Knot because not everybody hits those events. And then everybody purchases, obviously. So we configure the events that we want. We track a full spectrum e-commerce events as well as lead gen events. And then so once those are configured, and I'll go into a little bit more than configuration here in a moment. This is pretty amazing. So we have, if you're familiar with Google Tag Manager, we do have a configuration tool called OptimizeX Tag Manager. It's a very lightweight version of Google Tag Manager, but specific for these events. So if you have events that you want to track that aren't by default Shopify events, and you want to, let's say you have a custom funnel or you have a custom landing page and you want to track specific events on those pages based on a user's activity, either clicking or viewing or interacting with that page, you just define how you want that event to trigger, and it will create an additional tracking event for that trigger. We also have for lead gen, we have mapping of user data. So if you have a custom form, like say a Klaviyo form or an opt-in form, and you want to collect the user data from that form, then you would map that. Let's say I want a first name. I would then map whatever that CSS was called. in your code, and then you would map that, and it would collect that data, save it to the cookie, as well as pass it back to OptimizeX. So you configure the events. And also, here's the thing: if that confuses you, don't worry. Not everybody gets Google Tag Manager or understands that. We're here to help you, right? So our team will walk you through and getting that set up. Our team will take care of that for you if you're not familiar how to do it yourself. So it's a very simple process. It takes about 20 minutes to get set up, unless I'm the one walking through and I talk a lot. So it may be like an hour. But otherwise, it's about 20, 30 minutes from start to finish to get set up. And then
also, and guys, if you have any questions for Jim as well, please drop them down below, no matter what community or group you're watching from. I'll go ahead and relay them to Jim as we go through. So feel free to drop questions down below. Any comments, anything, guys, drop it below. I see we got a few here. And Jim, I'll kind of interject and kind of toss you some questions as we go through.
Sure. So check this out. So here's our website, Celtic Knot, right? So and the reason I'm sharing this is because one of the last steps is to install our Chrome extension. So instead of using a Chrome extension that overlays data back into Ads Manager, we use a Chrome extension because we remove the Facebook pixel, right? So Facebook Pixel Helper is obsolete at this point. And so we've got the OptimizeX Pixel Helper to track and ensure that the events are actually tracking. And so we install that. That's one of the last steps. Then ultimately before setting up the UTM tags. Now on UTM tags, this isn't a necessity. So our system is going to track the activity with or without UTM tags. Now, if you want to gain visibility within OptimizeX, we do have an Ads Manager function. And so if you want to use our Ads Manager to overcome delayed attribution, so because all the data goes back to Facebook, just to give a brief explanation here, everything that we track within milliseconds, it goes to Facebook. Once we pass it to Facebook, 2 to 3 minutes later, it's available within Events Manager. Within 15 minutes to 72 hours, depending on how Facebook processes the data, it'll show up in your ad account. All events, not just your priority event, every event that user had triggered from click to purchase, from page view to purchase.
Huge. That's huge because a lot of the softwares won't do that. Now, also, Irina just mentioned here, she's in e-commerce as well as real estate. She says, "Well, I can use this for my e-commerce store and for her lead flow generation real estate business as well," 100%, which is 100%. Pretty badass. So, Jim, this is incredible, man. Thank you for the presentation.
Of course. So once you get everything set up, within seconds, as soon as somebody lands on your site, you'll start getting data within the dashboard. Now, the dashboard, so this section of the dashboard, the activity log, is just simply, it's a real-time activity log to know what's happening on the website, right? So when somebody comes to the site, we may not know who they are, but we fingerprint the device, right? So we know that who this device belongs to. We may not know who the person is, but we recognize the device, right? So anytime that user comes back and navigates through the site and begins to do anything on the site, then we'll begin to associate user data to that device. And then ultimately, once we do know who the user is, each time that user comes back, even after they purchase, we're going to continue to know who this user is based on first name, last name, email, phone, city, state, zip, IP address, device, browser, as well as all mapped back to the customer number, which is our device fingerprint. We also store all session activity. So we track what that user did while on the site during that specific session. We also track the event ID. So we'll track everything that was related to this event, right? So UTM tags, if there was a click ID sent, then click ID for either Facebook or Google. We also are in the process of implementing Google Ads tracking and GA4 event tracking, as well as TikTok ads tracking to enhance this in January. But as of right now, we're only passing data back to Facebook, even though we know where the data comes from, right? So we know that data comes from Facebook, or it's from Klaviyo, or from Organic, or from Google, or from Attentive, or from TikTok, or from wherever. We know where it comes from, but the data that we pass back to Facebook is actually all of it. So we pass everything back to Facebook. And so what we'll track here, let me see, just an example, if I sort by purchases, right? So I can track all of our purchase data. We have the customer record, the session ID, the event ID. And here's the best part, is that we don't expect you to take our word for it. We don't expect you just to believe that everything's working and that we just say that it's working. We give you the Facebook transaction ID. So the Facebook transaction ID is the value that Facebook gives to us when this event has been successfully received by Facebook. And so there's a few different variables that can be presented here: fail, success, pending, duplicate. And so if the event was successfully received by Facebook, then it's success. And so this just shows that everything is working. Then we also give you some more insights as well. So during the whatever date range we have chosen, we can give you performance by average time of day. So this is going to be important if you're running any sort of day parting campaigns and honing in on your most when sales come in, at what times of the day most sales come in, right? So we can see our sales start around 6, 7 o'clock. They die off around 9 p.m. Which would tell me, like, if I wanted to run an aggressive day parting campaign, I would launch my campaigns maybe around 10 a.m. and let them end by 7 p.m. and capture the time of days on average when people are most buying, right? Or if I want to get a little bit more aggressive on, what days of the week are most performing. Well, I know that Mondays and Fridays are the days. Well, Sundays, Mondays, Tuesdays, and Fridays are the days when most sales come in. So if I want to get a little bit more aggressive on my spend, I'm definitely going to want to spend more on Monday because this is when most of my sales come in, right? So we give you access to that information, so that gives you more insight to know how to manage your campaigns. But we're not actually giving you the information to manage your campaign here. We give it all back to Facebook. So all the reporting that you need is in Facebook, and so you can make your decisions directly in Facebook.
Jim, this is extremely informative, and I think it's really cool that you guys really give the transaction hash as well, because ultimately that shows you guys actually know what you're doing and saying, hey, don't just take our word for it. You're showing that it's actually coming from Facebook and it's actually approved and actually accurate, which is so incredible.
Yeah, cool. Here's another thing too. So we went a step further and we created our own events manager. So we do a slightly different calculation on how we score events. It's based on total data collected. But let's say if I come in here to purchases and I want to view details, so we can see here that 22% of our traffic has a click ID, but 100% of our traffic is device matched. We have nearly 100% of our data is user matched, and 100% of our data is product matched. And so with every event that we send back to Facebook, we're sending 3 different meta layers or data layers of metadata to identify the device, to identify the user, and identify the product, so that Facebook has all of the data it needs to successfully match the user on Facebook. So we capture this, and also just a way to show, what's the accuracy, because what we do is we check for accuracy in 3 different ways, right? So we've got the connection within Shopify. So not only are we tracking browser activity through the OptimizeX pixel from your server pixel, we're also ensuring that information is accurate through the Shopify API. So let's say, for example, if somebody comes to your website and buys, but then they leave the thank you page too quickly before the pixel loaded, well, the pixel wouldn't have tracked it because the pixel didn't load. Well, if the sale shows up in Shopify, we're going to sync that sale with OptimizeX and still pass that sale back to Facebook, even if we didn't see it on browser. A third redundancy is, let's say you have a Facebook or Instagram shop, and so the sales happen on Facebook. They don't actually happen on your website, but the data is synced with Shopify. Well, once it's in Shopify and we see that the record doesn't exist in OptimizeX, we sync it and process it and send it back to Facebook, so that we ensure that all data is fully tracked and verifiable. And then I'll hold off on showing these. This is our Christmas present to our audience. So if you're familiar with let's say, why did I just forget the name of that? Wicked Reports. If you're familiar with Wicked Reports, this is Wicked Reports on steroids. So we give you a full business overview of how is the business performing across all channels, all ad platforms, across your best performing products, key metrics of the business overall, to how is each channel performing from impression to click, and then how's the website performing from click to purchase, with data segmented on each step. So it gives you real-time insight to know how is everything performing and know what to fix if something's wrong. So a little bit more in-depth view of kind of like you see here, where I can see that of my users, I've got 194,000 page views on my website in the last 30 days, of which 29% of those converted into a view content. 13% of my view contents converted into add to cart. 46% of my add to carts converted into initiate checkout. 44% of my checkouts converted into a purchase. Now, these metrics are a little bit off, right? So I generally would want to see this over 40% from page view to view content. I generally want to see this over 20% from view content to add to cart. This is okay. I want to see this over 40% add to cart to checkout. I want to see checkout at over 80% once they've checked out and purchased. So by fixing those, even just fixing this one right here, if I could double this up to 20%, like I would essentially double my conversion rate, or at least double the amount of revenue that I generate just by fixing this, by doubling this one single conversion. So this gives us real-time insight to know if something is off. I know where to look in our customer journey to fix that step so that I don't have to guess. I don't have to pay and pray and hopefully things work out. When my ads don't perform or if my conversion rate is off, in the most typical scenarios, advertisers or novice advertisers will go and they'll relaunch ads, they'll try new audiences, they'll try new campaigns and try and duplicate things to try and get things to work. When really, if you just go to your website and look, where is my biggest fall off happening and address that step, you can effectively improve your conversion rate without spending an extra dime or fixing anything on Facebook itself. So we give you insight to that. And we're going to give you a lot more insight to that within these 3 reports. These get released this Friday. So this is our Christmas gift to our audience.
Very cool, Jim. I mean, you have so much depth in reporting here. It's very, very, very effective. And I know the people watching right now appreciate the actual kind of customer journey walkthrough and dissection up here as well, because that's huge, right? It's essentially also a guide to further conversion rather than just also tracking your data, which is incredible.
Cool. Yeah, exactly.
Now, with that being said, Jim, where can they find this? Where can they get their hands on Optimize?
Yeah. So go to OptimizeX.io, and then on the website, I've got an apply button. From the apply button, there's answer a few questions. We are offering a free 30-day trial for all new subscribers before the end of December. So you've got 11 days to hop on, and you can try it free for 30 days. So regardless of whether you are doing less than $50,000 a month or you're doing over $1.5 million a month, or up to $5 million if you go for enterprise. But regardless of your scale, we're going to let you get your hands on it, see for yourself the effectiveness of OptimizeX before actually making the decision of using it.
Very cool. So literally a whole 30-day free trial, which is incredible. So guys, as you can see, this is definitely in depth. I would highly encourage. Jim is a GOAT. Okay. And anything this guy puts out is going to be absolutely phenomenal. So I definitely recommend get your hands on it. And Jim, anything you want to leave the people with?
Man, that's a good question. So, as far as what I want to leave people with, I guess just a little bit of philosophy that as long as you don't give up, eventually you arrive. And so regardless of where you are in your business, whether you're a startup or whether you're enterprise, there's always ways to improve, whether that's systems, teams, process. As long as you don't give up, be consistent, show up for yourself, you will eventually arrive. So the consistency, you are the driving determinator of your success. So show up.
Hey, Jim, you're an inspiration, dude. And, with this software specifically, you guys do have, you said, a team to help individuals get it set up if they're struggling to kind of get everything set, right? You got, a team that will be able to help the people, correct?
100%.
Cool. Because I know that's a question as well. People, are kind of finicky with setting a lot of this stuff up. So that's huge that you have a support team there as well. So the website is OptimizeX.io. Okay, definitely, incredibly in-depth presentation today. Jim, thank you so much for actually hopping on here today. Totally appreciate your time. And we'd love to have you back in the future. Maybe we'll have you back on a few live streams after a few of our students start using this and, get some crazy sales and results. So again,
I'd be honored.
Thank you so much. A lot of people, are really, really stoked about this right now. I think you're going to see a lot of, happy BSF students using this, which is going to be cool. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of showcase this even a bit deeper to my people as well inside the Platinum Club and whatnot, because I think this is badass. And I love the promo you're running until January 1st as well for a free trial. I would love the people to give it a shot. So Jim, thank you so much for hopping on today. And any other last minute pieces, words, things you want to let the people know right before we hop off?
We're good. Good luck. Have a great rest of your year. I know we're wrapping up Q4. You've got the second wind of Black Friday happening here in the day after Christmas. So good luck, everybody, for the wrapping up your Q4. And here's to crushing 2023 with accurate data.
Cool. All right, guys. And if you're watching the replay as well, do yourself a favor, drop hashtag replay below. What I'll do for you guys is we'll give out 3 hoodies to 3 people who comment replay below who are actually watching on the replay. So if you comment replay and I see it, okay, we'll throw you a BSF hoodie. 3 people will win it. Okay, this is across several different communities right now. So we'll give 3 per community, which would be badass. So make it happen, guys. I want to see everyone repping VSF. And again, Jim, thank you so much for actually hopping on here today. This was so informative. And I look forward to seeing you soon. And with that being said, guys, have a good rest of your day. Happy holidays. Enjoy your Christmas. Happy Hanukkah as well. Yesterday was day 1 of Hanukkah, I know. And again, guys, congratulations on just being in this incredible community. Love you all. Thanks for the amazing support. And let's keep rocking. We literally have a week, and a half left before this is all over and 2023 is here, guys. So don't be that guy who says, oh, I'm going to relax until January 1st. Put in the work now, make it happen, okay, and be the outlier. Amazing session today, Jim. Thank you so much, guys. I'll see you soon. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys. Have a good one.